What's up, YouTube? Razor here, back again with another video. Before I start this video, I just want to say I am really sorry for not uploading for like the past 6+ months. I just haven't had the YouTube energy lately, and I always get nervous when I make these sorts of videos. No, this is not a Genshin video. I've honestly been really burnt out from Genshin lately, and I really want to make Honkai Star Rail. I've been addicted to this game. So if you guys like the content, I would greatly appreciate a like, a comment, and a subscription to the channel. Really helps me out, especially then I'm probably going to be screwed on the algorithm because I haven't posted for like 7 months. So without further ado, let's get started. So basically the reason why I'm making this video is that there are a lot of characters coming up soon for Honkai Star Rail and not many summons available. So I wanted to figure out, especially with Jing Yuan coming out next week as of the recording, which is May 11th, you know, who is going to be the best units for your buck, basically, which are the most valuable out of the four. So for today, in this video, we're going to be covering Jing Yuan, followed by Silver Wolf, followed by Luocha, followed up by Kafka, and see which of those four is worth your pull currency. So starting with Jing Yuan, who's going next week. Basically, for those who haven't bothered to read Jing Yuan's kit at all, for the most part, is that he is a follow-up focused semi-AoE character. Obviously, he's the path of erudition, which means that he's mainly focusing on AoE attacks, but he does do okay single target damage because the main gimmick of Jing Yuan is his Lightning Lord, and the whole point of the kit is that Jing Yuan builds up these Lightning Lord stacks actions, and so when Lightning Lord goes, it hits that certain number of actions. It's kind of like Fischl and Oz if you're a Genshin player. So Lightning Lord is basically like your 5th character in your party, and he takes a turn, and what he does in the turn depends on what Jing Yuan did on his turn. You see a lot of people posting on, you know, how Jing Yuan does a lot of toughness, and the reason why is because Jing Yuan hits multiple times, and so each hit breaks a certain number of toughness down. I forgot exactly how many units of toughness it is. It might be 1 or 2. I think it might be 1 for each hit. So you'll see, like, you know, a lot of the bosses and showcases online will just, like, you'll see the boss bar, toughness bar break by half or over half because he hit 10 times. I'm just gonna tell you this as someone who came from Genshin and saw a lot of this stuff, like Tony Toe stuff. This is all like whale high investment stuff, and don't expect your Jing Yuan to be doing nearly as much damage. I honestly do not recommend Jing Yuan as a summon. I know a lot of people are obviously going to be saying otherwise, and obviously the Memory of Chaos is going to highly benefit erudition because it's Hoyo. They want you to roll the character, but don't buy into it. I think Serval is going to be okay enough for the time being, and I just think erudition as a whole is super underpowered. Especially if you don't get Jing Yuan's light cone, the light cone selection is really awful for this path. Like, I have no idea why these light cones are terrible. Like, Himiko's light cone is mid as crap, and then like the other ones, like Qingcha. If you're a Qingcha, a Serval main, you understand how bad these erudition light cones can be. They are really bad. Like, so again, I don't think Jing Yuan is a good character. I think he's a solid character, but I think at the late game, the end game points, the fact that his skill and ult are all AoE hitting is not going to be good because a lot of the content in the game is going to be focused on, can I break the boss? Can I deal damage to the boss? And if Jing Yuan's damage is mostly going to be split, that means his damage to the boss is going to be really crappy. For the end game, I end up thinking that Hunt, Nihility, and the Destruction are going to be the 3 best. I honestly think Nihility and Destruction are like probably the best because Destruction is very flexible, has mostly single target damage, but has AoE, and Nihility gives you really good buffs. They're basically harmonies with damage, which makes them a lot better for people's accounts. So I don't know. I'm really iffy on erudition. Like, if you get Jing Yuan with his light cone, I think he's kind of worth it, but I think that's also really whaley. So if you're a F2P player and only want to roll Jing Yuan, and you're thinking on the fence of whether you want to get him or the other 3 characters I mentioned, I don't recommend it. I think it's a skip. The only reason why I would ever recommend Jing Yuan's banner is because Ting Wang's in it, and Ting Wang is barely much the best harmony in the game. I know everyone's saying Bronya is the best, but Ting Wang is better because she gives you way better flexibility. Maybe I'll make a video covering on it if you guys are really interested. Let me know in the comments. But that is pretty much Jing Yuan's kit. His whole kit is pretty much centered around dealing a whole bunch of damage with the follow-up attack, and I don't think it's really that good. Next, we have Silver Wolf. I know a lot of content creators are going to be hyping this character up, but I am very hesitant on this character. I think if you guys have been following Genshin Impact content, I think she's like the Nilo right now. What I mean by that, for the people that don't play Genshin or not familiar with what I'm talking about, is that in Genshin Impact there was a character called Nilo. When she came out, she was really bad because there wasn't enough characters that could support her playstyle at the time. But she got better like 6 months when we got like Nihida, Yao Yao, Hatham, all these other Dendros now. I think Silverwolf is pretty much on the very same sort of area where I don't think there's enough characters, especially if you're a free-to-play, that can support Silverwolf's playstyle that well. And her rerun like 6 months to a year from now, I think she'll have a way better lineup. And there are some leaked characters that are going to be insane with a mono quantum lineup. We have Lynx, who's going to be a 4-star quantum healer, who's like pretty much a cleanser as well. So he's pretty much better Natasha. He or she, I don't know the gender, sorry. And then you have Hanabi, who's a 5-star quantum, whose main gimmick gives you skill points, which is broken. Like, ult gives 4 skill points. Like, this stuff is crazy. So mono quantum will be a thing later on, but we don't know that's coming like a year from now or 6 months. But like, it makes it harder, and especially even if you have Sela and run like 2-2. The main gimmick of Silverwolf is that her skill can basically apply a weakness to an enemy, and that's the whole gimmick that a lot of people are going to be hyping up. It's just overhyped because it's just too random. So like, Silverwolf's kit is just too random for the effects. So I probably should cover the effects first. I'm sorry. So the main part is that Silverwolf, basically on her skill, she inflicts a weakness on an enemy with her skill, and this resistance part doesn't matter. It's pretty much the same. They already had a weakness anyway, and then reduces damage resistance. Cool. And then ult pretty much reduces defense, TLDR, and does damage. And then her talent is that she can basically apply various types of debuffs, so attack debuffs, defense debuffs, speed debuffs, whatnot, and then just extra damage, extra damage, extra debuffs, whatever. But the main gimmick I want to cover is just this, her skill, which basically inflicts a new weakness. I think long term, there's going to be a lot of really good teams. Or if you're a whale, you'll have a lot of good teams. Like, you'll have triple cryo, or ice, sorry, you'll have triple imaginary, you'll have triple... The only good team I think free-to-plays can really do is Fire MC, Hook, and Asta. I think that's the only good F2P team available for Silverwolf right now, and I think the others are just super whale heavy or too random. You have to run like Sela, Silverwolf, and like 2 others in 50-50, and if you miss the wrong weakness buff, you're gonna be really sad. I think right now it's just too random on Silverwolf to be consistent. And so you're basically going to be high rolling on this character a lot of the time. But if you like high rolling, if you like playing Chingcha and high rolling, hey, that's on you. But I don't think she's a character that's really worth the summon right now. Probably on the rerun. But if you're free to play, I would try to avoid her. I'm probably going to get disliked like crazy because I'm saying this. But everyone else is going to be saying she's crazy. But I don't think she's that good. And it'll be funny when every content creator will just agree with my opinion right after that. But anyways, next on to Luocha. Luocha is going to be a 5-star healer, and which is already going to be eye-opening to a lot of people because he's actually an obtainable 5-star healer. So a lot of people only right now have Natasha. Unless you're lucky enough to get Gepard or Bailu, you're kind of stuck with that in March 7th Fire MC, which isn't that great because it doesn't protect you that much against AoE all that much. The main gimmick of Luocha is that his skill is very similar to Natasha's, basically. It heals an ally and removes a debuff on them as well with his trace. The skill can actually, if you're familiar with, like, I'm not sure if it's a trace on Natasha, I kind of forgot. But he basically automatically uses this skill if an ally is below 50% of their HP and doesn't consume a skill point, which is really nice. But the whole gimmick of Luocha is that he gains, whenever he uses skill or ult, he gains these stacks of Abyss Flowers. And basically when you have 2 stacks of Abyss Flower, he gains a special field where if you hit enemies, the allies heal. So he's kind of like Chi-Chi if you play Genshin Impact, and they end up buffing him. So they gave him another trace that basically says, hey, if you attack an enemy, then all allies gain a percentage of attack. I think this is when the field's up, though. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, it's the imminence of the field's up. Okay, cool. But anyways, he's going to be an amazing offensive healer. His healing scales based off attack. I think that makes him pretty good. He'll do pretty okay damage. The thing I really like about Luocha is that he's really like a more proactive healer. Unlike Natasha and Bailu are more reactive. Like, what I mean by that is that you're essentially using the ult when you're low for a lot of turns, you may not actually be using the ult because you're waiting for something to happen. Versus Luocha's like, I'm spamming that ult as fast as I can. Get that ult out there. Let me get my field and get my buffs. I feel like this is a much more active playstyle. And it's also actually a lot better because that means Luocha may have like very low reliance on skill points, as well as removing debuffs, as well as doing okay damage as well for breaking, because his ult is in AoE. So I think he's going to be, honestly, out of the 4 characters I'm going to mention, I think he's the best out of all 4, definitely for F2Ps. He is pretty much a must summon in my opinion. Abundance characters are really rare right now, and having an extra Abundance character will pretty much massively help your account, especially as we go into Memory of Chaos, where we need 2 teams. Where you guys need 2 teams, I think Luocha is just going to help carry the second team. That's pretty much what I'm going to say on Luocha. I think he's the best character out of the 4 to summon. I'm just not going to sugarcoat it and say that right now. And then finally, going into Kafka, the main kit of Kafka is that, keep in mind, Kafka's kit is probably the most subject to change because she's not coming until 1.2, but Kafka's kit is mainly centered around damage over time ability, so she's a nihility, which is, even though, like, DOT is also technically Erudition because of Serval, but I don't know, don't ask about this. The main gimmick of Kafka is that her skill can pretty much trigger all DOT damages, and she can buff DOT damage, kind of similar to Sampo. And what she can do is she does a lot of DOT damage, and she's able to scale with a lot of the F2P characters that are available for people. Sampo is going to be absolutely nuts with her. You're also going to have Serval, and if you guys didn't know, DOT damage also scales based off damage bonus, and so people are going to be making break effect teams with Kafka, and there's going to be a lot of very good F2P friendly teams, because the break effect of Fizz is really good as well. Bleed is really, really good, as well as like a lot of Electro and Wind. So I think Kafka overall is just a really good character, especially if you get her Eidolon 1. Her Eidolon 1 is going to be good. So if you really like Kafka and want a Dolphin, her E1 is very crazy because her E1 basically states that when she uses her ult, they get shock and take damage from the shock. However, with E1, it's all DOTs. They get afflicted with shock, and then they take damage from all the DOT sources. So Sampo's 5 wind shears, Serval's shock, the shock effect from a break, or the bleed effect from a break. If you run Natasha and Natasha breaks, this stuff is gonna go crazy. I think people look at DOT and go, ugh, that's so crap damage, but like, keep in mind all of these are gonna be stacking up, and if you can spam Kafka with speed buffs and just keep spamming the skill over and over again, this damage over time damage is going to be dealing a lot of DPS for Kafka. So I'm really excited for this character. I think she can make some really good free-to-play teams with her as well. So I think she's probably going to be my number 2 best summon to go for. So if you guys didn't follow everything, Luocha is going to be the best summon, followed by Kafka, followed by Silverwolf, followed by Jing Yuan. That's pretty much all my thoughts on the upcoming characters. So if you guys liked the video, like, comment, subscribe, really helps me out. And yeah, thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.